So we begin with a new chapter today, that is chapter 21, Gurustan Mahima. Now this is a chapter in continuation to yesterday's story where the lady, um, where the mother lost a child and she's crying. I hope you recollect the story, where Gurunath had blessed her with two sons, and in that one son died, and now she is not able to accept the death of her son, and she's also blaming Gurunath, saying, "Why did you bestow me a son when you have to take him away from me?" So let us see what Gurunath is saying here. This chapter describes how Sri Gurunath, moved by pity at the sorrow of the woman, brings back the dead child to life. Very good morning. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Shri Guru Charitra Parayan. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatre Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Guru Charitra Parayan. Siddhayogi continued with the narrative. The Brahmachari consoled and comforted and said, "No one has come into the world to live and stay permanently. Death is inevitable to whoever is born. This body is perishable and cannot last indefinitely. The body is constituted of the five elements. When the elements mutually combine and take a form, it is called body. Man is enveloped by the covering of illusion called avidya, and he forgets his eternal nature. The body is just a vesture which the soul dons in its earthly sojourn. As the body wears out, the soul discards it as we discard old and worn out clothes, and dons a new body just as we wear new clothes. Man is really the soul which is immortal, and he has no death in reality. It is the physical body that dies and drops off, but the core personality, the Atman, is deathless." Absolutely true. See, the whole aspect of spirituality is this. What is spirituality all about? To understand that I am the spirit and not the body. This is the truth. And the problem with human beings is, though we understand, the day we are born, we know that we have to die. This body is programmed to die someday, and everybody's death is predefined. It is programmed already, and how it has to happen, it's not known to us. It is never understood. That understanding is never given to a human being, and even the death depends on the karma that you have come with. You are born with that prarabdha karma. So that is why there are the sufferings that you have to go through with respect to the body. You know why? Because we have been attached to the body like nobody's business. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to say. We think we are this body. We think we own this body, and everything associated with that body. That possession of I, me, myself is so strong. My child, my husband, my father, my mother, my job, you name it. This is my jewels. I own this sari. Everything we possess. What is not ours? This morning, very strangely, my Krishna Guruji was saying about a very funny story about somebody who was claiming ownership to some land which doesn't even belong to them. And this is also, it's more political as well, and also people. He said there's some ownership claim going between the land which is the district within Karnataka, which is Belgaum, and between Maharashtra. It's a border. So both Karnataka and Maharashtra are claiming a stake to that, the district, saying that belongs to Maharashtra, and somebody saying it belongs to Karnataka. Now, my Guruji said a very strange thing. It is in India, Bharat. So, that is the truth. So who can claim ownership to this? Why do we think we own something, we belong to a particular place? See, the most important aspect we need to understand is that the one, the caste, the creed, everything that we belong is to this human being. Everybody is human being. We are humankind. That is what we say, right? Human means we have, I don't know what else to say, like everybody is given a specific name, like animals, birds, creatures, insects, flowers. So we also say inanimate and animate, things that have life in it, things that have no life in it. The greatest of all the creations, which Lord Sri Krishna also says, the one creation which he is pleased is with human birth, because only through human body can we realize God. And isn't it so beautiful? So we are humankind, and we don't belong to any kind but to humankind. So we need to treat everybody in the same way. But that understanding is never there within us. We believe we are somebody great, we are superior to others, and we try to possess everything around. See, you need to understand, nobody owns anything in this universe. Everything belongs to the nature alone. Prakriti is the mother nature who has created this universe, and everything belongs to her. At the end of the day, you have to leave everything and go away. Nothing that you think is yours belongs to you. This is what we don't understand. And that is when we get into problems. We get into attachments. We feel miserable because we feel somebody has taken away something that belongs to us. Somebody has cheated us. Somebody has done so many different things. But what we fail to understand is we don't own anything. We are born with nothing, we die with nothing. When we die, we don't take anything. Not even a piece of cloth is ours. Nothing is ours. We just leave everything and go. But this truth is not understood. Why do we have to claim ownership? So my Krishna Guruji said a very profound thing. He said, it is in India, Bharat. Of course, oh yeah, correct. So what is that anybody claiming that this state is mine? Who has defined all this? Again, it is defined by some human being who has the authority or the power. So they defined it in that capacity. But is that the truth? Yeah, you can make laws, but law is created. So who has defined that law? Somebody has defined, because people elected that leader. People believe that this is how it has to be. So everybody came together to define that law. But is that what is the is the truth? No, it is not the truth. And the next important thing you need to also understand, yesterday we met a very beautiful saintly being, and I was asking her some questions. I said, how did your family receive? So she's a divine being. Now this saintly lady, the saintly, she's a saint, and she had to go through so much of hell in her life because of some possession, though she didn't claim any ownership. Of course not. Even what was rightfully belonging to them was taken away by deceit and self-conceit. Why? Because of the greed. Her own family cheated her of her property and they threw her out. Can you believe this? This is the world we are into. And what is that we are talking here? Of nothing belongs to us. We are not even this body. Even this body doesn't belong to us. It is given by the elements. Prakriti is the mother nature from whom we have borrowed this body. This is a garb that we are wearing. Today, once it is worn out, we'll discard and we'll take a new body. Like we'll wear a new garment. Exactly what Shri Narasimha Saraswati is explaining here. Now, they had to come to streets. And then somehow, life moves on, and then when you are on the path of truth, and they didn't go and claim any ownership. Even, imagine whatever the little proof they had, the other people burnt it away. So this is the kind of world we live in. Why should you take somebody else's which is not yours? Why are you smitten by that greed? Why do you need? You only have to live with what is yours. Why are you claiming that something else is something which is not yours belong to you? And what will happen? Please remember, you are going to suffer. That which is not coming to you, rightfully yours, with the grace of the divine, please remember, it's not going to be with you. On the contrary, you will have to suffer hell a lot of sin and karma for that. You are going to suffer a lot. So this is the truth we fail to understand. And it is very profound, learning from her a lot of things about her own life, how she has journeyed, how did she become who she is. and what are the kind of experiences she had. It is very beautiful to learn from her, and she's very truthful. She says, I don't take money, I don't want money. She for her guru and her father, she believes, her father is Agastya Muni, a great guru, and he's taking care of her. So why would you fear when you have a great master with you? His grace is on you, but you have to go through the process to understand the futility of this worldly existence, that which we are running behind, that which we are running after. Nothing is ours. See, we don't say we are Hindu religion. Hindu is a name given to us by somebody else, but our religion is Sanatan Dharma, which means we are, it's brotherhood, where we are kind to everybody. We treat everybody equal because we believe everybody is equal to us. There is no religion, caste, creed, nothing. It's about brotherhood. It's about, that friendliness. It's about being loving to each other. We treat everybody equal. This understanding is not there. Today it has gone out of the window. That is why these great divine beings manifest time and again to establish dharma, to establish our moral values, and to establish the spiritual regeneration. We forget about who we are. We leave our the spiritual richness that we have. The great divine beings have manifested in the holy Bharat Varsh, and we forget about all that. We have discarded. We are adapting to different cultures, Western cultures. Why are we not adapting to our own culture? Why can't we live our culture and go and learn deep about it? There is so much truth about it. Why are we taking something that is not ours? We are going against our Sanskriti, our, the basic foundation on what is that our Sanatan Dharma stands for. We are forgetting all of these things. We don't bother to read our scriptures. We don't bother to question. We don't understand what is God all about. Why are we doing this? And today we are all becoming westernized and taking into something that does not belong to us. On the contrary, if you go in the Western world, people are adapting to our own, the good aspects of our culture. So it is important for each one of you to know your Sanatan Dharma. What does it mean? What does this dharma stand for? Dharma means it is about righteousness, walking the path of righteousness. Don't forget who you are. We are not here to create any enmity between anybody. We are not here to claim ownership of any property, country, place, even your body. People think, oh, it's my child, it's his right to take care of me. What all nonsensical thing people do today. Please remember, nobody is yours. You don't belong to anybody. There is only one owner, and that is Lord Almighty. He is the one who has given birth to all of us. He is our father, he is our mother, he is everything. That is the truth you need to understand. And stop claiming ownership and stop possessing things, because that is not going to give you any spiritual weal. On the contrary, you are going to go in gutters. Please remember, the more you get attached, the more you go into that, the material worldly bondage, you are going to go into gutters. Please remember, a husband thinks, oh, she's my wife, it is my birthright to own her. Similarly, the wife thinks, he's my husband, he has to only first give priority to me, he has to do this for me, and oh, they are my children, I own my children, I've given birth to them. Who is this I who is given birth? Who is this my husband, my wife, my father, my mother? Who is this I? There is no I here. It is only the Lord Almighty. He owns this entire universe. So stop claiming ownership to anything. People think they are going to, they have some properties, they are going to, pass it on to the future generation, and they are going to have lot of money. I'm like, what the hell? See, you whatever you have earned, please eat from that. Fulfill your desires. Who was asked you that you have to save for somebody else? Nobody cares about your property. The dilapidated home is not even valued. Do you even understand? People think that is how it is. My way is the highway. And then my Krishna Guruji wrote one very beautiful thing. It's only one way, that is God's way. The universal way is never understood by anybody. We think this is how it has to be. And yesterday when we were, seeking, when the Devi Amma, she's been addressed as Devi Amma. And Devi Amma, she said a very profound thing. Her Gurudev had, instructed her to do a sadhana. And after that sadhana was finished, she said it was very painful. She said how I didn't know why I spoke to my Gurudev. I was very angry that he put me through it. But yes, when all the gurus instruct you to do something, it's very painful. But please understand, that is so beautiful once you finish that. That's exactly what she was saying. And after that, her Gurudev gave her both two important lessons. And one first important lesson is that don't expect anything from anybody. Don't have any expectations from this world, because when you have expectations, you are going to become a miserable person, because nobody is going to meet your expectations, number one. And number two is, today it's not the way we think things has to happen in a certain way, because we also have to adapt to the ways how things are evolving. The world and this universe is dynamic, so we also have to adapt. So don't think that everybody has to conform to your way, because they will not conform, because this universe is very dynamic. What is there now is not going to be the next minute. What will be then, it is not going to be later. And what was then is not going to be now as well. So what I have now is not going to be there tomorrow. So this understanding is never, it doesn't enter our human mind. We always latch on to it. I have some people in my world who I know live in 18th century, okay? They will not come out of that. This is how it is. And then they'll suffer like hell. Why? Because they don't want to break that mold, that mindset. And that is very difficult. If you cannot adapt, if you cannot be dynamic, then you're going to suffer. And it was literally a slap on my face, because a very important lesson, a lesson for all of us to live. See, this body has its nature. The path of spiritual, this knowledge teaches us how to curb that nature, how to sometimes overcome that nature, or how to channel that nature for serving the Lord's purpose alone. That is what is important. So this lesson, when I learned from Devi Amma, I understood what she said. It literally felt like the great sage was speaking to me through her. It was very divine experience. Literally, I experienced Agastya Muni through Devi Amma. I experienced few beautiful, divine, I just don't know how to describe the divinity I experienced. And I'll narrate more stories as we go along. She shared some of the most beautiful experience of her own journey in spirituality. It's very rare to find such divine beings. They are there today, but they are just, incognito, or they're living in a very simple manner, simply because, why people just latch on to you. And then, then they are only driven by greed. The same divine being or the same goodness will get itself converted into Maya. Ignorance will come, greed will strike. And what happened is, I'm just going to continue with the same experience what she spoke about. Where after she was thrown out of her own home by her own relatives, one of her best friends, she had given her ashraya. She had given some place to stay, and then Devi Amma continued. They had established a temple of Agastya Muni, and they were continuing. And then finally what happened? A lot of visitors were coming to meet her. There were a lot of foreigners who used to come and meet Devi Amma, and they would offer some, Guru Dakshina. When you meet the gurus, whatever, you just make an offering. So this friend of hers was greed stricken. Suddenly she saw dollars, suddenly she saw, money coming in. See, this is what happens. The moment greed comes in, your goodness goes out of window. The fall is imminent. You don't know when Maya can hit you. When it can strike you, you don't know. That is why we always have to be very careful. We should not go after money. We should not go after our desires. We should not want more. You always have to feel very contented. Be very grateful to what God has given you. God knows what is right for you, and what has to come to you will come to you. Don't ask for more. Don't ask for, not less, but don't ask for more. The more you ask, the more you're going to get into trouble. And then she's believed that, Devi Amma has to take donation. She said, so many people are coming to you, you have to start collecting donation. Devi Amma said, I'm sorry, I don't take money. If somebody is offering, that is their choice. Like my Krishna Guruji, he will not touch one single penny. Even if somebody comes and offers here, he will say, keep it in the puja room or hand it over to my disciples. He will not touch anything. He doesn't take. See, because that is karma, that is danger. Never touch money. Money is evil. But money is wealth is to establish dharma, but it has a purpose, but they don't own. The divine masters don't touch anything. They don't have a penny. She is a very true divine being. She said, I don't want the money. I will not do this. The moment she denied, This woman got so greedy and anger, she threw Devi Amma out. This is the world. This is what here, even Guru is explaining. This body doesn't belong to us. We believe we own something. Greed can come. Even the greed is not just for money or wealth. It is for your own children. I own, this is my son. My son has to take care of me. My son has to listen to me. My son has to exactly do what I am asking him to do, or my daughter has to only behave like this. Who is this I? Who the hell you think you own your son, daughter, and try to demand things? Today, this is the world we are in. You need to let go. Even your body is not yours. Even whoever you have given birth doesn't belong to you. Just surrender to the divine Lord Almighty and understand the truth that I am not this body. I am that Atman myself. This is what spirituality is all about. But to get that understanding, you need the Guru. The Guru is the doorway to realize God. The Guru is the doorway to God realization. Without Guru, you cannot realize God. This is the truth. And if you don't understand this truth, then you are in deep trouble. Please remember, those who are blessed to listen to this satsang are the ones getting this knowledge. So you have to make effort. See, when people get grace, they still don't understand that they have received the grace. It's a very funny thing. People go to the divine beings, the great masters. You worship, saying, Baba, I want to, evolve, whatever that you are asking for. And finally, when Baba bestows that grace on you, you're not able to see that grace. And what are you searching for? The Baba himself has come. Baba himself has blessed you. Baba has already shown you the path, what you are supposed to do. And yet you're sitting and thinking in your mind and trying to figure out, and you're saying you're confused. Why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting this God-given precious life? That is exactly what this Guru Charitra is teaching. And also to understand the nature of the Guru, how the Gurus work. See, the Guru himself is not the body. He's an essence, a tattva. Guru is an essence. The body that he's using is just a garb. That is exactly what here Narasimha Saraswati is teaching. Even the body which he has manifested is only a vehicle. He is serving a purpose. What is the purpose? To uplift the people on path of spiritual and to establish the spiritual regeneration. Why? Because, and have established the faith, to establish dharma, and to put those who have to go on the path of spirituality and bless and redeem some of the people. You wouldn't know how the gurus work. They travel all over. Why do they travel all over? Because they want to confer the blessings. They want to establish that faith back in the divinity over there. And to many who have to receive their grace, they bestow their grace. But the problem is, human beings give it to their mind and don't recognize the divine beings when they arrive, when the grace is given. It is very sad. I asked a very interesting question to my Krishna Guruji. I said, Devi Amma is a divine being. Was it a karma that she had to, she was thrown out and she had to go through the suffering? Or was it a part of her spiritual progress, or the spiritual path she had to go through? And my Krishna Guruji said a very, very profound lesson. And you know what he said? He said there that no, it is her karma, the body's karma. See, because the divine being are not the body. But when you don the body, you will have to face the karma which is associated with the body. Because the divine beings are only a tattva, an essence, they are only a principle. They are not even connected with the body, but they are using the body as a vehicle to realize God. So the karma associated with the body has to be suffered. Even if they are the great gurus, they will have to go through the sufferings. Unfortunately, this is how it is. And then what happens? So my Krishna Guruji said, but it depends on the thing is, it's nothing to do with her, but yes, because she's that body, the prarabdha karma associated with the body, she will have to go through that karma. But the choice is in your hands as to how you overcome that karma. Depends on the reaction you give. So that was a very enlightening lesson he gave. It's the way you react to that karma. When you don't utter anything, when you graciously accept what happens, then that karma doesn't affect. You know what? The divine Lord Mighty takes it on his own and you will be able to sail through it. It's about how you react to anything. This is the most important teaching. The reason why we have been taught that we have to be our good self. We have to be kind, compassionate. Even when somebody is doing bad, you don't utter anything bad or you don't say anything wrong to them or even say anything at all, is because the reaction is very important. When we don't react, we are overcoming that karma. We are able to override it. So nothing accrues to us. Please remember. So this is how we are able to override the karma and not create more karma. See, the moment you utter something, then you are creating more karma. Your anger is going to lead you to create more karma. That is why my Krishna Guruji will say anger is a doorway to hell, and even there are few other Shadripus which are the doorway to hell. Desire, lust, greed, and few more. But when we are able to control, when we channel it towards the divine Lord Almighty, then we are not going to create any further karma. So all the futuristic karma is nullified. The Guruji will destroy all that, because you are able to understand the truth about spirituality. That is why the divine beings do not react. It is the reaction that matters. Yeah, karma is going to happen. How are you going to react to anything? When you are your good self, nothing shall happen to you, nothing shall befall to you, because the grace of the Lord Sri Hari is on your head. Lord Sri Krishna is taking care of you. So why fear when I am here, Baba says. So this is the truth you need to understand, and stop possessing anything. Don't worry about what is going to happen, how your future is going to open up. I was talking to someone this morning, and this person was telling, last few months I have not got any projects. I'm very depressed. I don't know what to do. I'm terribly down. I'm trying really hard. I said, just let it be. Everything will be fine. Do something. See what you can do. Today in the world, the situations are not, not in the right sense. There is business not happening. A lot of people have lost their jobs. There is no money. There is paucity of money. There's so many different things. Many people are suffering. And that is usually the universal law, right? Rich gets richer, poor gets poorer. So many imbalances are there in the universe. What are we doing about it? So we need to also think about this universe. That is why these great beings come here to establish the upliftment of his entire universe. They care about the well-being of everybody, and what is due to everyone, they will bestow upon them. And my Krishna Guruji said a very profound thing. The God will ensure, there will be no, short of food, clothing, and shelter. But anything more than that, God is not going to give. You will have to work for that. So this is the truth. The basic necessities of life will be provided by the Lord. Even if you don't have business, even if your projects are not coming through, even, you are not getting back your payments, all these things that happens, you might even have lost your job, but the Lord will ensure that you're getting your food, clothing, and the shelter is there for you. He is always going to take care of that, but anything more than that, you will have to earn. And see, when you go into a job, every job is going to be miserable. I was talking again to someone I know, one of my friends, and this person has moved to a different job. He was suffering in his earlier job. He had a nightmare to deal with his bosses. And now when I spoke to him after a long time, and this person had stopped calling me, I wondered what happened. When I spoke to him, he's even more in a deeper miserable condition. So this, like my Krishna Guruji will say, the honeymoon period or any job is only 6 months. So get ready to go, move out to the next job. This is what happens, because we think, okay, we have a new job and there I'm going to get happiness. I'm going to be very happy. I'm going to do a lot of things. You have a lot of aspirations, but what happens? Things doesn't work the way you want to. So don't expect anything. The grass is always greener on the other side. Know that every job, there are challenges. The challenges come in so many different ways. And this is the truth that I've understood. So don't expect. You have to only know that you have to do your job, be the best in that job, and just keep going ahead. Don't worry about whether you're going to get the recognition or not, but you have to give your best shot at it. So don't, remember, Lord has given you this job, and you need to respect that, and you need to give yourself worth to that job, whatever is given to you. So be very truthful to that, and the divine will take care of you. So this is the misery of life, which we don't understand. And yet we start possessing, and claim ownership of everything in this world. The only one who can you possess in your heart is Lord Sri Hari. Nobody else you can possess. Who can you possess, say? And even that possession, you can't still hold him. Because the only way to hold him is with that absolute love and devotion. The prema that you want to achieve for Lord Sri Krishna can never be achieved by anybody except Lord himself. That's who he is. And the only thing is, we all, like we said, there is bhava, and beyond that is mahabhava. And above mahabhava, the highest form of love and devotion to the Lord is prema. Prema can never be achieved by anybody. Because can you become that great? Unconditional love, exclusive devotion, Where is unconditional? Oh, this is the person I will love, this person I don't love, because this person did this to me, that person did this to me. Who has an unconditional love? We are all biased. We have enmity. We have hatred within us. Where is this love ever going to be there? So you think anybody else can be Lord Shri Krishna? Absolutely no. Only Lord Shri Krishna is Shri Krishna. This morning my Krishna Guruji was giving Bhagavad Gita satsang, and in that he was revealing, Lord Shri Krishna was revealing the truth about where he is. Who is he? He is the supreme divine person who lives in Golok Vrindavan. That is his supreme abode. And who can realize and who can enter there? One who has the purity, the highest purity. One who can live the way of life of Lord Shri Krishna. Can anybody be that? Nobody. And he was giving a very profound truth this morning. Everybody has to keep being born again and again and again. We're all bound, and we think, okay, the Guru's life is so lovely, it's so easy, he has all the power in this world, his life is so good. Actually, you know what, becoming a Guru is a nightmare. Yesterday Devi Amma was saying, she said, I chose not to become the Guru. She said, I'm only going to be this Devi Amma. People can come here, meet me, whatever that I have to, I will guide them. But beyond that, I am not going to have any students under me. I am not going to initiate anybody, because I am not going to take that, that responsibility. That is a very, true. Imagine my Krishna Guruji, the moment he initiates even handful of people, he has to bear the suffering of their karma. Why the hell that he has to suffer for somebody else's gutter sins that they have committed? That too, I don't know how much pile. Would you believe you're going to come and, dish out all the mire, muck at the lotus feet of the Guru? That is exactly what he has to go through. When anybody touches the Guru's feet, he has to take all the, the gutter that they have thrown at his feet. I'm sorry to say this, but this is the truth. This is the reality. And and we think, oh, Guru is so great. You don't know how miserable his life is, because he has to suffer for people like idiots, like all these ignorant beings in this world who don't even give a damn and create more karmas and make him suffer more. Why should the Guru go through? Let me ask you, his job, why should he take all your karmas? You think what, you are such a great being? Who the hell you think you are that the Guru has to suffer for you? No, on the contrary, can you suffer for somebody else? Let me see if you can suffer. And here people will conveniently come and dump all their garbage onto the Guru. And when the Guru says don't do it, they will exactly go and do the same thing and put him in trouble. People have no, little bit of humanity. They don't even have goodness. They don't know what it means to be with a Guru also. And they'll come and behave however they want. Everybody is the same in this world. There is no exception to the rule. And imagine the Guru's life. Do you ever want to be in his shoes? No, I'll always tell my Krishna Guru, sorry, I can never, only Lord Shri Krishna can be Lord Shri Krishna. I'm not even coveting your position. I don't even want to be you. Because it's very difficult. Only you can be who you are. Nobody else can be you. Because that is the greatness they are. Lord Shri Krishna is Lord Shri Krishna. Nobody else can become that. Please remember. Because nobody can suffer for others. But he can. That is his greatness. Jesus suffered for the sins of the other people. That is why he became Jesus. He was crucified on the cross. Buddha had to be, he was poisoned and he died. Can anybody do that? No. We are all selfish human beings. We are so much self-centered. We cannot suffer for another person. And what are we talking about? So this is the greatness of a Guru, the charitra, the nature of a Guru, who this master is. And here he's talking about saying that please remember, he is not this body. That is the truth. He is the divine, the tattva and the essence and the principle. So understand the truth about who this divine being is. And please remember, they will don this ordinary being. They will don this body and appear to be a very ordinary human being and appear everywhere. But they bestow their grace upon everyone. And when the grace is there, please take it. Don't try to question that truth itself. And you are the loser. Nobody else is going to lose. So man is really the soul, which is immortal and he has no death in reality. It is the physical body that dies and drops off, but the core personality, the Atman, is deathless. The Brahmachari continued his advice to the woman as follows. Everything is predetermined by destiny, by the deeds of one's past life or lives. I think we discussed this enough at length. I hope you listen very intently what here Narasimha Saraswati is teaching. Everything is predetermined by destiny, by the deeds of one's past life or lives. We have to accept events as they come and should try to understand and experience the higher truths. See, only when you go through the misery of this life, this material worldly existence, will you understand the higher truth about life. Until you don't suffer, you can't understand. Till you don't go and, my Guruji will always say, right? Till you don't experience yourself that truth, how can, even if you can describe n number of times in different ways and examples, you cannot still understand till you don't taste it yourself. So experiencing, going through the process is extremely important. Though we cannot alter much the course of the prarabdha karma. Please remember, the course of prarabdha karma cannot be altered much. This is what the Guru is saying. But Guru can change your destiny when you obey to him. When you are not going to create more karmas, he has the power to eliminate the karma. But they cannot, and see, remember, prarabdha karma gets cushioned and he wipes out all your future karma. No karma will accrue to you. Because when you have surrendered to the Guru, even if you're wearing a garment, even if you're wearing something, you're eating something, everything is purified. What the Guru bestows upon you is sinless. There is no karma in it. Yet we should try by righteous living to refrain from evil and to build a brighter and happier future for the next life. See, your next life depends on how you live in this life. What is Guru Nath saying here? He is saying, yet we should try by righteous living. That is why the Gurus come to establish righteousness, show you the path, the way of life. To refrain from evil and to build a brighter and happier future for the next life. But the ultimate purpose of life is to realize the eternal self and gain freedom from the cycle of birth and death forever. That is the real Sadgati. Okay, I'm going to reread this once again. So, what is he saying? He's saying, though we cannot alter much the course of the prarabdha karma, yet we should try by righteous living to refrain from evil and to build a brighter and happier future for the next life. But the ultimate purpose of life is to realize the eternal self and gain freedom from the cycle of birth and death forever. That is the real Sadgati. What a false attachment you are suffering from for this son of yours. You weren't his mother in his previous life. Very important. What a false attachment you are suffering from for this son of yours. She thinks, oh, this is my son. But in a previous life, you are not his mother. So where is the question? Believing that, oh, this is my son. You know what? You need to get married. Otherwise, I'll commit suicide. Or I will do something. Oh, you have to only listen to me. Choose either Krishna or me. Otherwise, I will commit suicide. This is the kind people blackmail. What nonsense is that? What makes you think you are her, she's your mother and you are attached? What is all this? See, the most important, yes, the mother has given birth to you. We have a duty. Like my Krishna Guruji says, we have to do our duties. But we are not bound by anybody. We don't owe anything to anybody. Everything we owe to the Divine Lord Almighty, who has given us this birth to evolve on the path of Dharma, to achieve God realization. He has done a favor. And the greatest mother is the Guru Mother, because he suffers. The moment he has initiated you, he's taken all your karmas on to him. Please remember, and you better, repay to him. Baba has very beautifully explained in Satcharitra in the last chapter, in the last few chapters, I don't know which exactly chapter, in that he says, you have to wear the mala of gratefulness, of, indebtedness to the Guru, because that is the greatness that the Guru is. You have to always remember what all things he's doing, but we are ungrateful creatures. We don't remember a damn thing what the Guru does, and yet we believe, oh, the Guru is not doing anything to us. This is not correct. So please always wear the mala of indebtedness to your Gurudev, because he wears himself out. He is not going to tell you what is going to happen, but he wants you, and you better listen. And if you don't listen, please get out. The door is always open. Nobody's invited you here. You will not be his mother again in his next birth. Most important. You think you're going to be this, it is my son, my daughter. Next birth also, you think you're going to be his son? No. Who gives you this ownership? Who has given you the right? We are all so blinded by this moha, the lust and greed, the attachment, thinking that this is mine, that is mine, and destroy not only our life, but destroy everybody else's life around. That you were his mother, this birth of his is just incidental. What is it saying? That you were his mother in this birth of his is just incidental. It is incidental. It doesn't mean you own him to eternity. Why mourn over this transient kinship? Why mourn over the transient? It is transient. You're just born, you die. Why we owning this so much? Why do you own? Ask this question yourself, and then you'll realize the truth. Don't keep getting, oh, this is my daughter. I have to listen to my daughter. I have to take permission to go to somewhere. My daughter is the one who has to, ma'am, you are your own. You are your own will. You can live your life independently. Who is your daughter to take decision for you? You think what she has given birth to you? There is one above. He knows what is right for you. Stand up. Empower the divine being within you. Own yourself. Don't let somebody own you. The only one who can own you is your Baba, your God alone. There is nobody who can own you or possess you. Please remember this. You are his child. Your Ishta is him. He will guide you. Empower that. You are independent. You are the divine being. This is the realization that you have. Nobody belongs to you. Neither you belong to anybody. The one who owns you is the Lord Almighty. Life is like a bubble. It will burst off at any time. Absolutely true. What does it mean? That death can come anytime, and it's like a bubble. It will burst and then you die, and then again a new bubble will come. Then that bubble will burst and then new bubble. This is what is happening. How long it will last has been predetermined by destiny. So how long we are going to live in this body is already predetermined. It is it's programmed. You have already come with a clear path how you are going to die, what are your sufferings going. Everything is determined. It's predetermined by the destiny. So what are you running after? The grace is to break out of this. How? By attaining a spiritual wheel. That is what Guru Nath is also teaching. Don't be blindly attached like Dhritarashtra to lust and greed. That is why Mahabharata had to come. Everything was destroyed. That is the root cause of everybody's misery, because we are blindfolded. It is futile crying over death. Now let your relatives take the dead body away for the cremation and thereby help to speed up the Jiva's ascent to higher births, that is Sadgati. Don't bind it down here. Guru Nath is very clearly telling, but this lady wouldn't listen. Why? Because she's like, my child, that moha, this is my son, I want this son. But the woman was inconsolable. She said she did all the worship bid by Guru Nath. The sons were the gift to her by Guru Nath. How could God snatch away the gift he himself had given? She had been betrayed by Guru Nath. Look at this. This is called, she complained, I will take the body of my child to the Guru Padukas and end my life there. The brahmachari then told her, if her heart was so much set on her dead son's life, if she was feeling she could not live without him, she might take the body of the child to Gurustan and place it near the Padukas and do whatever she wanted thereafter. See, she wouldn't listen. The brahmachari then told her, if her heart was so much set on her dead son's life, if she was feeling she could not live without him, she might take the body of the child to the Gurustan and place it near the Padukas and do whatever she wanted thereafter. The woman and her husband came to Gurustan along with the body of the dead child. She placed the body near the Guru Padukas and again broke into sobs. They sat down there. Meanwhile, as it was nearing sunset and as the woman remained so obstinate, the relatives and people who came to do the death rites of the child left. It was night and the couple, exhausted by the strain they went through the whole day, fell asleep at that spot only. In the night, the woman got a dream. She saw Guru Nath coming near her and telling her, Mother, do not grieve. Nobody will ever get disappointed who repose their faith in me. See, the gurus are very compassionate being. They are always ever kind. They are benevolent. They are forgiving. They are loving, caring. They understand that these beings they cannot understand the truth about the life. So sometimes they will go out of compassion. They will grant things which is out of turn, which means even though they understand, they know that prarabdha karma cannot be changed, but sometimes they have to make the adjustments in the universe. Only the great master on only special occasions, very important occasions, and they will take a call when they will alter that karma. And please remember, when the karma is altered, you will have to still pay for it in the future lives. People don't understand. That is why my Krishna Guruji will say, don't ask, because you don't know what you're asking for. You don't know what can happen if you ask some things which is not meant for you. So don't ask. God will give you what is right for you. So be very grateful. And my Guruji will always say, the Guru, the God, everybody understands what is right for you, and that will come to you. And when that comes, you wouldn't even have imagined, because it will be always more than what you have imagined or expected in your life. And that will give you peace, that will give you truth, that will give you contentment. And there will be no sins accruing with that. So never ask for things that you don't know what you will get into. People will come and very casually keep saying to my Guruji, I want to go abroad, I want this, I want that, save my son's family, save my brother's family, save this, save that, my father's health, my mother's diabetes, you name it, everything they keep talking. And that is when my Krishna Guruji has said in one of the satsangs, I don't know if I'm a job consultant, if I'm running a healthcare agency, or I'm a specialist for diseases. I don't know what he is. He is only here to give you your spiritual wheel, to tell you the truth about what life is. Ask him about your spiritual progress. Get out of this material worldly miserable existence. Why are you asking for things where you're going to go further into the gutters? Don't ask. He will grant you whatever that you have to get, whatever your innermost heart desires, it will be fulfilled. Have faith in the divine. But if you have desires which is unreasonable, please don't expect it to be fulfilled. That which is right for you will definitely come to you. So have this much faith. Don't go after asking more and more and get into the greed. It is not going to lead you anywhere. On the contrary, you're going to be born again and again and again, like the bubble. The bubble bursts, then you're going to become another bubble. That bubble bursts, then you'll come back again. So what use is it? And this lesson is for everyone. See, for those who have a guru is important. But imagine, this lady is not a spiritual being. She is a normal human being. And Guru Nath is teaching her here. He's telling her here that please remember, don't do this, don't do that. He's very clearly explaining to her. And yet she is so smitten by the attachment of her son. She's saying, Guru Nath blessed me. How can God be so unkind or take away the one who he has bestowed upon me? He's the one who has blessed this son to me, and how can now he snatch away? This is what she's still talking. Though it's a very transient. See, life itself is transient. What is there now is not there tomorrow. The whole world has changed. Nobody expected pandemic. The unprecedented happened. And what happened? The whole world is not the same anymore. It's not at all. It's never going to be. Imagine. So, are you going to rule over what was not there or what is now? But can we make the best of what is now and make a beautiful future? Which means we have to make the best of what we have. We can't get back what is gone. Why do we have to rule? I'll tell you a very stupid thing in my own world. It is a very material worldly example I'm going to give you. When I first went to America, rather not first, when I went to live there for a short duration time, probably a 6 months time, I was very much gotten carried away. So see, I had my pink color glasses back. My dream of America is what I watched in movies, okay? And yes, New York was supposed to be my favorite destination. And I had my own views about how life is, what kind of, world it is, because that's my pink color glasses. But when reality came, I completely, it was a shocker for me in every aspect, because I had to also adapt culturally, in the way how the life works there, everything. Yes, by the time I was adapting, it was time for me to come back. And what is that my small understanding was at the time, I loved shopping there. I was saying, oh, this is so good here, this is so good here, all that. And then when I came back and when I moved to Singapore, I was expecting the same thing. But obviously, I didn't get the same thing. And that time my Krishna Guruji taught me something very beautiful. He said, look, you can't compare, apples to oranges. You cannot say what you experienced then is the same now. And this understanding he gave me practically by taking, to a restaurant. Every time I tell my Krishna Guruji, the food in this restaurant is amazing, okay? And when we go to that restaurant, I'm not joking, okay? Inevitably or invariably, when we order the food there, it will taste very bad. And I will wonder what the hell happened just now. I ate this food a while back. It was so amazing. And the same food is not tasting good. So my Guruji, his universe works magic like this. To give me the experience and an understanding that it is not the restaurant which is good. It is the chef who cooks the food, who makes it good or whatever. The taste varies. The variations of the taste happens. So what you might have eaten that day, the same taste is not going to be now. And I know what, the stupid understanding never came to my, idiotic mind. Because my mind, your mind never wants to learn. It believes that it knows too much. This is the problem. And this happened not just one time. And I'm done, we've done this exercise many a time. Every single time I'll tell you the food is good here. And then I realize, oh my God, I better not open my mouth and tell the food is good here. Because the moment I say that, it will be exactly opposite. And then I understood. Then finally he revealed to me, what you're trying. You're trying to say the restaurant is good. See, the restaurant is not, okay, yeah, the restaurant is good. But it's not the restaurant who is cooking the food. It is the chef who makes the food. So if the chef makes, it can vary. And sometimes it's not necessarily the same chef is making the food. So then it entered me, oh my God, the person who cooks matters. And that variation happens. That consistency is not there. See, that, and one of the most important aspect which my Krishna Guruji says is, to get that consistency, you should have cooked the dish at least 1,000 times. That is when the perfection comes. It is not so easy. And that is when it hit me. Oh my God, yes, it is true. So what I bought or what I experienced of a place is not going to be the same now. Because this universe is dynamic. So that is where we have to adapt and change to how the world evolves around us. So we cannot be fixated in our views, which means we have to study, we have to learn, we need to understand, and be, whatever is best, the best that is available at that time, be happy with that. Don't keep saying, oh, in the past, in the year 1947, I had this. That is not going to be available. Yeah, you enjoyed it. And see, that is why my Krishna Guruji also teaches, be in the here and the now. Today, if you want to eat something, you want to wear something, you want to enjoy this moment, just fulfill it. There is no tomorrow, because this moment will not come. And I'll tell you a very funny thing with my own self, right? See, when I was in Singapore, I used to wear all these shorts and, different Western outfits, obviously. And in India, it's a little more we are in a conservative society. We don't wear shorts and go around, at least not, I wouldn't. And being in an ashram, that is absolutely not the norm. So what happened is, I wore there for a certain time, and you know what, I'm still possessing the thing. Oh, this is my skirt, this is my Western outfit which I wore. But do you think it's going to fit me today? Of course it's not, because my body has transformed. So what is that thing that I was owning or possessing? Yeah, I have worn at that moment in time. It's done. Now it's time to move on. So this is what it means. The life is dynamic. Everything is transient. There is nothing is permanent in this world. This is the truth of spirituality. This is the truth about life. That is why you need to understand this truth and go about and not possess anything. And when you accept, this acceptance comes to you, life will become a very beautiful place. We will be able to see all the goodness. We will be able to see this universe in a different light. Completely. And then you will love the life that you're living. Otherwise you will become a miserable human being, because you have not been able to get out of that 18th century, and today we are in the 25th century. So 2 centuries behind, or 2 centuries behind, you're going to be stuck in time, and you're not going to go ahead. And then while you'll die a death which is something you don't want to. You're going to die a miserable death. When we die, we should be very happy, saying that I've lived my life to the fullest. I've done everything that I want. I'm happy to attain the lotus feet of my Lord Almighty. That is the life you have to live. So, So what happens? Okay, she saw Gurunath coming near and telling her, "Mother, do not grieve. Nobody will ever get disappointed who repose their faith in me. See, I am reviving your dead child. I am giving him longevity." The woman suddenly woke up. She was doubting whether it could be true. But lo, as she looked at the child was opening his eyes. She put her hand on the body was warming up. Thinking she was perhaps still dreaming, to make sure, she woke up her husband. He was also wondering, unable to believe anything. The boy cried, saying, "Mother, I'm feeling very hungry. Give me milk at least." Wonder of wonders, the woman's dry breasts started overflowing with milk. The woman hugged her son to her bosoms and suckled him with milk. The child became quite normal and healthy and was playful as he used to be. The couple fell prostrate at the Guru Padukas, shedding tears of gratitude to Gurunath at daybreak when the relatives and other people came there, hoping that the woman would have been reconciled by then and would hand over the body of the dead son for the rites. To their wonder, they saw the boy fully alive and playing, and the parents fondling him with joy. They exclaimed, "What a mighty power is Gurunath, and how merciful and compassionate he is." Absolutely, the Gurus are compassionate, but they don't understand that he has already altered the future karma. And then he also mentioned, the karmas can never be altered, the prarabdha cannot be altered at all. But sometimes out of turn, the Gurus do certain things for a certain reason, and they will have to alter things in this universe which is not understood by us. And we should never ask for something that to be altered, because you don't understand. In the future life, this boy will have to die the same death at the same age. Something that has to be fulfilled. It cannot be altered. Please remember. So don't ask anything out of turn. You're not going to go anywhere, and you're not going to get anything. And if you do so anything like that, then you're going to be in for a big trouble. So don't. The only thing you have to seek is spiritual grace. That you evolve on the path of spirituality, that you're able to live a righteous life, you're able to live a life where you're not creating more karmas, and be lost in the divine and serve the purpose of your human existence. And when you leave your body, you attain the divine Lord Almighty. So this should be your goal. Don't own anything, nothing is yours. So remember, Baba says, wealth is to establish dharma. So whatever you have, give, share, do something good in this world, and then everything will be fine. And go through. You have to suffer for your karmas. There are no two ways about it. So with that, we end today's satsang. Thus ends the 21st chapter of Sri Guru Charitra, describing the episode of the revival of the dead child. Glory to the all-merciful, the omnipresent and the ever-responsive Gurunath. Thank you for joining Sri Guru Charitra Parayan. Wishing you all a very happy Tuesday. Hope you have a good day today. See you in tomorrow morning, same time, 8:30 am for Guru Charitra Parayan. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Digambara Digambara, Shripad Vallabha Digambara, Om Shri Krishna Gurunath Natha, Shri Guruve Namaha, Om Devi Durgaya Namaha, Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu, Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.